Kyrie Jesu Domine, dona eis requiem.
Good morning and happy memorial of St. John Bosco, one of our patron saints for the youth. Today we celebrate his memorial and the founding of the oratory of St. Francis de Sales, the Salesian fathers, brothers, and then there's a religious community of religious sisters, Salesian sisters as well. Unless you happen to be in a community where you have Salesians, most of us probably know of their work through these little colorful prayer books that have been floating around for the last 40 years. These little Salesian prayer books where it's kind of like little watercolor pictures and little prayer poems. And those little books would be donated to people, sent in the mail when you supported the Salesian Society. One of the important things about today's saint and the little prayer books, one of the little prayer books are great. There's a great avenue for prayer for people as a supplement to scriptural prayer. But one of the great things about this saint is he was working with young boys, often orphaned or cut free by their families because they couldn't support them, and to help them lead a sacramental life and a vocational life, to find a vocation with which they could sustain themselves 2 centuries ago, especially as Italy was rapidly turning over from an agrarian lifestyle to an industrial urban lifestyle. And St. John was instrumental in just helping these young boys, first of all, lead a good life, lead a moral, spiritual, sacramental life, especially frequent confession and communion. And the next thing is get a job with which they can sustain themselves and hope to sustain a family. And I think that's very important. We want to help our young people in their vocational discernment, because you want a vocation in which you feel fulfilled, but you also need a vocation that society says there is a value on it, and that it contributes in some way to the common good. And one of the things that he was very big on was the trade skills, and I think we should certainly work to see a reestablishment of them. I have nothing against higher education. I am very suspect of higher education anymore in all of our public universities, and probably a fair amount of our private ones, where they have done social engineering to reformat the thinking of our young people along very leftist ideas. And that is a concern. And I'd rather see our young people get out of high school and land a good job as a carpenter, electrician, pipe fitter, auto worker, whatever it might be. Those traditional jobs, like my dad was a machinist, and a brother and brother-in-law. Those are good jobs, and you're doing good practical work. You're using your skills and your talents, and you have a sense of accomplishment at the end of the day. Again, nothing wrong with degrees. They can be very good, but if you send your son or daughter off to college and they come back disavowing everything you raised them in a traditional Christian family, and questioning your motives or despising what you tried to pass on to them, college was a failure. In fact, it didn't make them more broad-minded, it made them more closed-minded. And education ought to make us more broad-minded. Education ought to expose us to a variety of ideas, some of which we can accept and reject, but it shouldn't give us a uniform thinking with a correct group think that is part of many universities in the atmosphere. So ask for the intercession of St. John today for the young people in your life. One of the things we want to teach our children is it's not all about wealth, although you want enough to sustain yourself. It is really about using your gifts to glorify God, to help your neighbors, and to improve yourself. That there is a sense of accomplishment and contentment that comes from being where you know you belong in life. God bless. Have a great Friday, everybody. Peace.